Assam, Assamese, ɔ'xɔm, ə'sæm, is a state in northeast India, located south of the eastern Himalayas. Assam comprises the Brahmaputra Valley and the Barak Valley along with the Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao districts with an area of 30,285 square miles. Assam, along with Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and Meghalaya, is one of the 7 sister states. Geographically, Assam and these states are connected to the rest of India via a 22 km strip of land in West Bengal called the Siliguri Corridor or Chicken's Neck. Assam shares international border with Bhutan and Bangladesh, and culture, people and climate is similar to that of Southeast Asia, bringing the elements in India's Look East policy. Assam became a part of British India after the British East India Company occupied the region following the First Anglo-Burmese War of 1824 to 1826. Assam is known for Assam tea, Assam silk, and the first oil well in Asia was drilled here. The state has conserved the one-horned Indian rhinoceros from near extinction, along with the pygmy hog, tiger and various species of Asiatic birds. It provides one of the last wild habitats for the Asian elephant. Assam economy is aided by wildlife tourism, while Kaziranga National Park and Manas National Park are designated World Heritage Sites. Sal tree forests are found in the state, which as a result of rainfall looks green all year round. Assam receives more rainfall compared to most part of India. This rain feeds the Brahmaputra River, whose tributaries and oxbow lakes provide the region with a hydrogeomorphic and aesthetic environment. Etymology. The precise etymology of Assam came from ă'xɔm dynasty. In the classical period and up to the 12th century, the region east of the Karatoya River, largely congruent to present-day Assam, was called Kamarupa, and alternatively, Pragjotisha. In medieval times the Mughals used Assam and Kamrup, and during British colonialism, the English used Assam, though many authors have associated the name with the 13th century Shan invaders. The precise origin of the name is not clear. It was suggested by some that the Sanskrit word Assama was the root, which has been rejected by Karkati, and more recent authors have concurred that it is a latter-day Sanskritization of a native name. Among possible origins are Thai and Bodo. History. Prehistory. Assam and adjoining regions have evidences of human settlements from all the periods of the Stone Ages. The hills at the height of 1,500–2,000 feet were popular habitats, probably due to availability of exposed dolerite basalt, useful for tool making. Mythology. According to a late text, Kalika Purana, the earliest ruler of Assam was Mahirong, a Danav of the Danavar dynasty, which was removed by Naraka of Mithila, who established the Naraka dynasty. The last of these rulers, also Naraka, was slain by Krishna. Naraka's son Bhargadatta became the king, who fought for the Kauravas in the Battle of Kurukshetra with an army of Kiratas, Chinas and dwellers of the eastern coast. Ancient Samudragupta's 4th century Allahabad pillar inscription mentions Kamarupa and Davakar as frontier kingdoms of the Gupta Empire. Davakar was later absorbed by Kamarupa, which grew into a large kingdom that spanned from Karatoya River to near present Sadiya and covered the entire Brahmaputra Valley, North Bengal, parts of Bangladesh and, at times, Purni and parts of West Bengal. Ruled by 3 dynasties: Valmanus, Milchchar dynasty and Kamarupa Palace, from their capitals in present-day Guwahati, Tezpur and North Guwahati respectively. Country was 10,000 li in circuit and capital city Pragjotishpura was about 30 li. All 3 dynasties claimed their descent from Narakasura, an immigrant from Aryabhata. In the reign of the Valman king, Bhaskavarman, the Chinese traveller Shanzang visited the region and recorded his travels. Later, after weakening and disintegration, the Kamarupa tradition was somewhat extended till c. 1255 AD by the Lunar I and Lunar II dynasties. Medieval 3 later dynasties, the ɔ'xɔms, the Sutiya and the Koch, The ɔ'xɔms, a Thai group, ruled Upper Assam for nearly 600 years, while the Satya rulers held the regions on the north bank of Brahmaputra with its domain from Vishwanath in the west to Parshuran Khund in the east in Upper Assam and in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The Koch, a Tibeto-Burmese, established sovereignty in c. 1510 AD. The Koch kingdom in western Assam and present North Bengal was at its zenith in the early reign of Narana Rajana. It split into two in c. 1581 AD, the western part as a Moghul vassal and the eastern as an ă'xәm satellite state. Since c. the 13th century AD, the nerve center of ă'xәm polity was Upper Assam. The kingdom was gradually extended till Karatoya River in the c. 17th or 18th century. It was at its zenith during the reign of Sukrungfa or Swargadu Rudrasimha. Among other dynasty, the Kacharas ruled from Dikha River to central and southern Assam and had their capital at Dimapur. The rivalry between the Satyas and ɔ'xɔms for the supremacy of eastern Assam led to a series of battles between them from the early 16th century till the start of the 17th century, which saw great loss of men and money. With expansion of ă'xәm kingdom, by the early 17th century, the Satya areas were annexed and since c. 1536 AD Kacharas remained only in Kashmir and North Kashmir as an ă'xәm ally, then a competing force. Despite numerous invasions, mostly by the Muslim rulers, no Western power ruled Assam until the arrival of the British. Though the Mughals made 17 attempts to invade, they were never successful. The most successful invader, Mir Jumla, a governor of Aurangzeb, briefly occupied Gurgaon, the then capital, but found it difficult to control people, making guerrilla attacks on his forces, forcing them to leave. The decisive victory of the Assamese led by the great General Lakit Borphukan on the Mughals, then under command of Raja Ram Singh at Sarege, had almost ended Mughal ambitions in this region. Mughals were finally expelled from Lower Assam during the reign of Gadadhar Singh in 1682 AD. Colonial era. The discovery of Camellia sinensis in 1834 in Assam was followed by its tests in 1836–37 in London. The British allowed companies to rent land from 1839 onwards. Thereafter tea plantations mushroomed in eastern Assam, where the soil and the climate were most suitable. Problems with the imported laborers from China and hostilities of native Assamese resulted in migration of forced laborers from central and eastern parts of India. After initial trial and error with planting the Chinese and the Assamese Chinese hybrid varieties, the planters later accepted the local Camellia assamica as the most suitable one for Assam. By the 1850s, the industry started seeing some profits. Industry saw initial growth when in 1861, investors were allowed to own land in Assam, and it saw substantial progress with invention of new technologies and machinery for preparing processed tea during the 1870s. Despite the commercial success, tea laborers continued to be exploited, working and living under poor conditions. Fearful of greater government interference, the tea growers formed the Indian Tea Association in 1888 to lobby to retain the status quo. The organization was very successful in this, and even after India's independence, conditions of the laborers have improved very little. In the later part of the 18th century, religious tensions and atrocities of nobles led to the Moa rebellion, resulting in tremendous casualties of lives and property. The rebellion was suppressed, but the kingdom was severely weakened by the civil war. Political rivalry between Prime Minister Aniruddha Buragohain and Bidhan Chandra Borphukan, the ă'xәm viceroy of Western Assam, led to the invitation to the Burmese by the latter, in turn leading to 3 successive Burmese invasions of Assam. The reigning monarch Chandrakanta Singh tried to check the Burmese invaders, but he was defeated after fierce resistance. A reign of terror was unleashed by the Burmese on the Assamese people, who fled to neighbouring kingdoms and British-ruled Bengal. The Burmese reached the East India Company's borders, and the First Anglo-Burmese War ensued in 1824. The war ended under the Treaty of Yandabo in 1826. With the company taking control of western Assam and installing Puranda Singh as king of Upper Assam in 1833. The arrangement lasted till 1838, and thereafter the British gradually annexed the entire region. Initially Assam was made a part of the Bengal Presidency, then in 1906 it was a part of Eastern Bengal and Assam Province, and in 1912 it was reconstituted into a Chief Commissioner's province. In 1913, a legislative council and, in 1937, the Assam Legislative Assembly, were formed in Shillong, the erstwhile capital of the region. The British tea planters imported labour from central India, adding to the demographic canvas. After a few initial unsuccessful attempts to gain independence for Assam during the 1850s, anti-colonial Assamese joined and actively supported the Indian National Congress against the British from the early 20th century, with Gopinath Bordoloi emerging as the preeminent nationalist leader in the Assam Congress. Bordoloi's major political rival in this time was Sir Saidullah, who was representing the Muslim League, and had the backing of the influential Muslim cleric Maulana Baizani. The Assam territory was first separated from Bengal in 1874 as the Northeast Frontier Non-Regulation Province, also known as the Assam Chief Commissionership. It was incorporated into the new province of Eastern Bengal and Assam in 1905 after the partition of Bengal, and re-established in 1912 as Assam Province. The Assam Postage Circle was established by 1873 under the headship of the Deputy Postmaster General. At the turn of the 20th century, British India consisted of 8 provinces that were administered either by a governor or a lieutenant governor. The Assam province was one among major 8 provinces of British India. The table hereafter shows the major original provinces during British India, covering the Assam province under Administrative Office of Chief Commissioner. The following table lists their areas and populations. It does not include those of the dependent native states. With the partition of India in 1947, Assam became a constituent state of India. The district of Sylhet of Assam was given up to East Pakistan. Modern history. The Government of India, which has the unilateral powers to change the borders of a state, divided Assam into several states since 1970 to satisfy national aspirations of the tribal populations living within the then borders of then Assam. In 1963, the Naga Hills district became the 16th state of India under the name of Nagaland. Part of Tumsang was added to Nagaland. In 1970, in response to the demands of the tribal peoples of the Meghalaya Plateau, the districts embracing the Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, and Garo Hills were formed into an autonomous state within Assam. In 1972 it became a separate state under the name of Meghalaya. In 1972, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram were separated from Assam as union territories. Both became states in 1986. Since the restructuring of Assam after independence, communal tensions and violence remain there. Separatist groups began forming along ethnic lines, and demands for autonomy and sovereignty grew, resulting into fragmentation of Assam. In 1961, the government of Assam passed a legislation making use of the Assamese language compulsory. It was withdrawn later under pressure from Bengali-speaking people in Kashmir. In the 1980s, the Brahmaputra Valley saw a 6-year Assam agitation triggered by the discovery of a sudden rise in registered voters on electoral rolls. It tried to force the government to identify and deport foreigners illegally migrating from neighboring Bangladesh and changing the demographics. The agitation ended after an accord between its leaders and the union government, which remained unimplemented, causing simmering discontent. The post-1970s experienced the growth of armed separatist groups like United Liberation Front of Assam and National Democratic Front of Bodoland. In November 1990, the Government of India deployed the Indian Army, after which low-intensity military conflicts and political homicides have been continuing for more than a decade. In recent times, ethnicity-based militant groups have grown. Regional autonomy has been ensured for Bodo Kacheri community in Bodoland territorial council areas, for the Karbasin Karbi Anglong and for the people of Dima Haseo district under the 6th Schedule in autonomous district councils areas under Indian Constitution, while non-6th Schedule states in the northeast where under 73rd and 74th Amendments have been applied in Assam. After agitation of the communities due to sluggish rate of development and general apathy of successive state governments towards indigenous communities. Geography. A significant geographical aspect of Assam is that it contains 3 of 6 physiographic divisions of India: the northern Himalayas, the northern plains and Deccan Plateau. As the Brahmaputra flows in Assam, the climate here is cold and there is rainfall most of the month. Geomorphic studies conclude that the Brahmaputra, the lifeline of Assam, is an antecedent river, older than the Himalayas. The river, with steep gorges and rapids in Arunachal Pradesh entering Assam, becomes a braided river and with tributaries, creates a floodplain. The hills of Karbi Anglong, North Kasha and those in and close to Guwahati, now eroded and dissected, are originally parts of the South Indian Plateau system. In the south, the Barak, originating in the Barail range, flows through the Kasha district with a 25 to 30 miles wide valley and enters Bangladesh with the name Surma River. Urban centers include Guwahati, one of the 100 fastest growing cities in the world. Guwahati is the gateway to the northeast India. Silchar, the second most populous city in Assam and an important center of business, education and tourism. Other large cities include Dibrugarh, oil, natural gas, tea and tourism industry, and Jorhat. Climate. With the tropical monsoon rainforest climate, Assam is temperate and experiences heavy rainfall and high humidity. The climate is characterized by heavy monsoon downpours, reducing summer temperatures and affecting foggy nights and mornings in winters, frequent during the afternoons. Spring and autumn are usually pleasant with moderate rainfall and temperature. Assam's agriculture usually depends on the southwest monsoon rains. Flooding every year. Flooding from the Brahmaputra and other rivers deluges places in Assam. The water levels of the rivers rise because of rainfall, resulting in the rivers overflowing their banks and engulfing nearby areas. Apart from houses and livestock being washed away by floodwater, bridges, railway tracks and roads are also damaged by the calamity, which causes communication breakdown in many places. Fatalities are also caused by the natural disaster in many places of the state. Fauna. Assam is one of the richest biodiversity zones in the world and consists of tropical rainforests, deciduous forests, riverine grasslands, bamboo orchards and numerous wetland ecosystems. Many are now protected as national parks and reserve forests. Assam has wildlife sanctuaries, the most prominent of which are 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites: the Kaziranga National Park, on the bank of the Brahmaputra River, and the Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, near the border with Bhutan. The Kaziranga is a refuge for the fast-disappearing Indian one-horned rhinoceros. The state is the last refuge for numerous other endangered and threatened species, including the white-winged wood duck Oraohan, Bengal florican, black-breasted parrabill, red-headed vulture, white-rumped vulture, greater adjutant, Jerdon's babula, rufous-necked hornbill, Bengal tiger, Asian elephant, pygmy hog, gaur, wild water buffalo, Indian hog deer, hoolock gibbon, golden langur, capped langur, barasingh, Ganges river dolphin, Barker snakehead, Ganges shark, Burmese python, Brahmani river turtle, black pond turtle, Asian forest tortoise, and Assam roof turtle. Threatened species that are extinct in Assam include the gharial, a critically endangered fish-eating crocodilian, and the pink-headed duck. For the state bird, the white-winged wood duck, Assam is a globally important area. In addition to the above, there are 3 other national parks in Assam, namely Dibru-Sakhowar National Park, Namiri National Park and the Orange National Park. Assam has conserved the one-horned Indian rhinoceros from near extinction, along with the pygmy hog, tiger and numerous species of birds. And it provides one of the last wild habitats for the Asian elephant. Kaziranga and Manas are both World Heritage Sites. The state contains sal tree forests and forest products, much depleted from earlier times. A land of high rainfall, Assam displays greenery. The Brahmaputra River tributaries and Oxbow lakes provide the region with hydrogeomorphic environment. The state has the largest population of the wild water buffalo in the world. The state has the highest diversity of birds in India with around 820 species. With subspecies the number is as high as 946. The mammal diversity in the state is around 190 species. Flora orchids are grown here. The foxtail orchid is the state flower of Assam. Geology: Assam has petroleum, natural gas, coal, limestone and other minor minerals such as magnetic quartzite, kaolin, sillimanites, clay and feldspar. A small quantity of iron ore is available in western districts. Discovered in 1889, all the major petroleum gas reserves are in upper parts. A recent USGS estimate shows 399 million barrels of oil, 1,178 billion cubic feet of gas and 67 million barrels of natural gas liquids in the Assam geologic province. The region is prone to natural disasters like annual floods and frequent mild earthquakes. Strong earthquakes were recorded in 1869, 1897, and 1950.